Hey guys, it's Charity. I hope that you're doing well and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to have a really raw, honest conversation with you about something big that has happened in our family. We are officially an ADHD family, meaning that one of our children has officially been diagnosed with ADHD. So if you have been following me for a really long time, you know that I am a big believer in food as medicine and how we can help ourselves and our families be healthier, live a vibrant and thriving life, with food being one of the main pillars to achieving that kind of life. So I've also been doing a lot on sugar and the understandings of sugar and food dyes and all of those things and finding the science behind it. But I wanted to have this conversation because I want to be transparent and honest with the struggles that we are going through and the real life that is being a parent in today's world with children who are trying to be healthy, or you're trying to help become healthy in an unhealthy world. So I wanted to just give you that intro just to kind of let you know where I'm coming from and how I'm feeling today. I am also going to put in the show notes below the link to my blog post that actually goes into very specific detail about this. I'm going to just give you the overview today just to hear it straight from me. So my oldest son is 7 years old. He's a second-year kindergarten student, and he is now halfway through first grade. And our struggles with helping him really be able to achieve things academically and emotionally and socially started about a year ago in January of 2020, where we really started noticing that he was not progressing like we had hoped for a second year of kindergarten, and he was starting to act really erratically and emotionally, and we didn't really know what to do about it. Kind of hoped that maybe the maturity thing was going to help, but it didn't seem like it was making a huge difference like we wanted. Then COVID hit, and they stopped going to school. So that was a reality check for me as his mom. I think somewhat ignorance and being naive to what was really going on. I was frustrated because I hadn't been informed that he was struggling the ways that he was at school along with what he was doing at home. And I felt like a failure because I didn't know until he was sitting at the table with me and I was trying to help him do his schoolwork while we were all quarantined, and I didn't have an answer. So, that's where it started for me, where I really started getting this gut feeling that something wasn't right, but I didn't know what it was and I didn't know what to do about it, and I was hoping somebody would help me and that there would be an answer out there, but I didn't really know. And we had already started making a transition to get him off of processed sugar, off of the food dyes, him and his brother, just to limit their risk of cognitive delays and things that are scientifically proven to be caused by those kinds of chemicals and things in children's food specifically. So I already had this idea in my head, but he was still not doing well. So a couple other things that started happening while we were in quarantine. He became extremely erratic, loud bursts and tears all the time, for any reason, just telling him, no, don't touch the oven, it's hot. If you raised your voice or became really kind of emphasized in any way, tears. And I didn't know, I didn't know how to parent him. And my frustration got the better of me and his dad, and we weren't agreeing on what to do or how to handle him. And we all felt lost. So, I didn't know what the answer was, and I just had this gut feeling that I could do something for him, that I needed to help catch him and give him the tools that he needed to be able to progress the way that we want him to as his parents. So a friend of mine told me about Brain Balance Centers, and they're a national organization with books and all sorts of things that help look at the brain of a child in a more holistic, out-of-the-box way, where they examine the strengths and the weaknesses of the brain and the different sides of the brain and how they're working and correlating together and where that child is struggling the most. So with that assessment, we found out that he is left brain deficient on his brain balance review. What that means is that the left brain is the detail-oriented side of the brain. The right side of the brain is the big picture. So the right side of the brain sees the forest, and the left side sees the trees and the leaves and the bark. So it makes sense why he's struggling academically, because that's the side of the brain that we need in order to learn and to grow and to do the tedious things at school, right? So that made sense. Some other things that are also triggered by the left side being the weaker side are emotions. So he has a tendency to have a low self-esteem, lack of motivation, very emotional. He also will have a fine motor issues, which made sense because I can't get him to hold his pencil right, and he's left-handed. I can't get him to learn how to tie his shoe. He doesn't understand what I'm trying to get him to do. So just as an overview, that made total sense to me. So we bought the books. We decided we were going to do some of the exercises, and we set out on this journey this past summer, and it was a failure. I think a combination between my inadequacies and impatience of not knowing what to do or how to do it, combined with his frustration and his emotional response, we didn't have a very good success. So to be honest, we just kind of set that aside for a while, and I thought, okay, I believe that this is part of the problem, but I need help. So I went and talked to his teacher and his principal for the new school year, thinking, okay, I need somebody to partner with me and help me do this. Didn't get the response that I wanted, which I guess I didn't really expect anything different, but because of all the changes with COVID, like putting anything else on the teachers or asking them for anything more than what they were going to have to be required to do was a lot, and I understood that. So I thought, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he'll take off this year. And he started out about average or a little bit under average in a lot of things. And then when I got his report card just a few weeks ago for the second quarter, which would have been the assessment at Christmas time or just after Christmas, he hasn't progressed at all. And I was shocked because I thought he would have made some progress, but he had stayed the same across the board. And so I decided to reach out to them, and I thought, I need to find out what in the world is going on. Is he distracted by another kid? Is he causing problems? What's happening? And so I had a conversation with his principal and his teacher, and lo and behold, he's having a lot of the same problems that he's having with me. I thought he was just doing it to me because I'm his mom and he doesn't want to learn from me and all those things, right? Like, that's what I thought. And clearly, no, he's doing that for his teachers and in the classroom. And so he is having extreme bouts of frustration. He can't stay on task. He doesn't know where they're at on the page. He has to have somebody point to him and tell him what to do. He can't sit still, which I knew because at the dinner table, especially here at home, it is a challenge to get him to sit and focus on his plate and like, let's sit and eat and communicate. It's a challenge. And then, you know, he would have emotional outbursts. He would be really loud, kind of like he was so excited. All he could do was like, just this burst of excitement. And he was doing that at home, and I didn't understand why. I was like, okay, like calm down. And that's just to kind of touch on the big ones. The other big one also, now that I just thought about it, is he is terrified to answer a question in front of the class because he doesn't know it, or he thinks he doesn't know it, and he is embarrassed to say something wrong in front of everybody. That's when I realized that we're actually digging into more anxiety and potential depression than I realized. She was very concerned because he's starting to use negative words to describe himself. He's blaming himself for things. He, in fact, uses the word stupid to describe him, his effort with school, with me all the time. And when I encourage him to try something else, or I'm like, hey, let's try this again, he panics and he thinks that I think he's stupid because I'm making him do it because he's supposed to know this. And I didn't know how to help him because I'm like, nobody thinks you're stupid and nobody thinks that. And I don't want my child to think that I do, or anybody or him think that he's less than because he's struggling to learn or grasp concepts or learn to write really well and those kinds of things. And I think my husband and I had lots of arguments about what to do. We didn't agree on some of the theories and the parenting methods and the styles that we were going to have to go about to do the best that we could for him and really show up for him to help. And so that gut-wrenching feeling that I had had all along really started screaming at me, and I realized we probably need to go get him assessed for ADHD, and we did. And a couple days ago, we got the confirmation and the official diagnosis that he is ADHD. So, I think I knew that was coming. I knew that was probably the reason that he might need some help in other forms, that I was doing good. My theory with the sugars and the dyes and all of the processed food was correct in helping him, and that's what I needed to really focus on. His younger brother wasn't having near the problems either, and I thought, okay, so my instinct was good on that. But now how do I help him? And it's a scary thing when you feel like you don't know what to do for your child, when you feel like you don't have the answers and you don't know what your next step should be. So the feeling of failing was this crazy weight that I didn't know how to overcome. I felt like I had failed him because I was unaware at the beginning of this process. I felt like I had failed him because I didn't know how to do the brain balance stuff effectively. I felt like I failed him because I was battling all these different opinions and theories and everybody trying to tell me what was best for him and trying to make the best decision myself. I had this gut feeling that my husband didn't really see. And so there was this clash of all these emotions, and I just felt like I'm his mother. I am supposed to know. God gave me this child, and he is going to give me the instinct and the desire and the know-how to do what is best. So, yeah, we are now venturing into the world of ADHD officially, parenting an ADHD child. And the biggest thing that I've had to come to terms with, and my husband and I have had many conversations over the last several days, is realizing that we are going to have to parent him differently. Not wrong, not in a bad way. It doesn't put us out. It's just he is going to respond differently than his younger brother. He's going to respond differently than my husband and I both did. So the way that we were parented is not going to work for him. And being able to say, okay, we have to show up for him in a way that we don't have to in other areas of our lives. And that's okay. And as his parents, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we want to do. And it's going to be messy, and it's going to be chaotic, and it's going to have its ups and its downs, and we're going to have to figure things out. But that we love him and that we want the very best for him. And so we as his parents have the responsibility of trying our best to always show up for him so that he knows that we are in his corner. And that's the biggest thing, is that when he struggles and he thinks that everybody thinks he's stupid and that he can't do it and all the other kids can do it and his cousins can do it and whatever, his brother can do it, or he thinks that he's just not good enough, we have to be in his corner to tell him that that's not what God says about him. That's not what we believe about him. That he is good enough, that he can do it, and that we are going to be there with him to figure it out. And that not knowing is okay, that feeling crazy and not knowing what to do is fine. And that those creative instincts and outlets that are going on in his life 100% are good. And we want to listen to them, and we want to figure them out and find a place for them. So that is my confession as a new ADHD mom, that it's overwhelming, but it's also a blessing that now we have an answer that gut feeling inside of me that was telling me that I can do it, that I can figure it out, that Charity, there's something wrong, something more needs to be done, you have to be more specific, that I was right in knowing that action needed to be taken. So I hope that this video is not only just informative on our case as far as how we've come, and more specifically me, how I've come to this position, but it's also an encouragement to you, knowing that, one, you're not alone, and two, every child is different, and God creates each and every one of them in His image, and each one of them has a purpose and a reason for why things are happening. God gave me this child. He knew that I was the best option for this child, and I'm going to show up and do it. So today is day one of the rest of our lives, and I am excited to share this journey with you. Click the links below. I want to stay in touch with people. I want to connect with other ADHD, ADD families, and hopefully as we make this journey that we can take that mission that's mine, that has just been so fueled in me since dealing with my own chronic disease and illnesses and surgeries, that trying to create a healthy life for my family is like my mission in life. Now it's just taken a curve, and it has a little road bump, and there's a speed bump that is going to take a little creativity and a little bit more imagination, but we're going to do it. And I am so excited to know that everything is just the way it's supposed to be, and that there are no mistakes, and this journey is just going to make us better in the end. So I hope that you guys are all well. Comment below, reach out to me on social media, and go and check out my blog and the post more detailed about this specific video. And yeah, let's do this. And I wish you all the best. Have a great day.